Can Benjamin Netanyahu be arrested? The International Criminal Court, ICC, is seeking arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense chief, Yoav Gallant. With the move, the ICC seeks to hold the Israeli Prime Minister accountable on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. But there is bad news for ICC. It cannot arrest Netanyahu. We will tell you why. First, let's get you up to speed with what the case is all about. Apart from requesting arrest warrants against Netanyahu and Gallant, the ICC prosecutor's office also seeks to arrest 3 Hamas leaders. This is over their actions in the 7 months of the Gaza war. In the weeks following Hamas's October 7 attack on Israel last year, the top prosecutor of ICC, Karim Khan, repeatedly warned the warring parties to proceed with extreme care, specifically warning them against using starvation as a weapon of war. Evidently, these warnings from Khan fell on deaf ears. 7 months on, Gaza is experiencing a full-blown famine. Over 75% of the population has been displaced. The death toll has crossed 35,000. That is how many Palestinians have lost their lives since the war started. But yet somehow the severity of the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Gaza has failed to move the stakeholders enough to put an end to it. Ceasefire talks have ended with no deal. Israel is now ramping up the Rafah attacks. As news came that he might face an arrest warrant, Netanyahu has responded with fury. He described the ICC prosecutor's decision as quote-unquote moral outrage of historic proportions. In what seemed like a bitter personal attack against the prosecutor, Khan, Netanyahu called him one of the great anti-Semites in modern times. He did not stop there. The Israeli Prime Minister compared Khan to judges in Nazi Germany who denied Jews basic rights and enabled the Holocaust. Netanyahu delivered his speech in English. He does that whenever he wants his message to reach the foreign audience, especially in the United States. The outrage expressed by the Israeli leadership has backing from the US president. Also, President Biden called the ICC prosecutor's decision outrageous. He said, and I'm quoting, "There is no equivalence, none, between Israel and Hamas." Hamas also demanded withdrawal of the allegations against its leaders. They claimed that the ICC prosecutor, Khan, was quote-unquote equating the victim with the executioner. Hamas said that the ICC prosecutor's request to issue arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and the defense chief coming a little too late. Now, to be clear, here's what happens next. Prosecutor Karim Khan's request goes to a pre-trial chamber. The chamber will be composed of 3 magistrates. There is no deadline for the judges to actually decide whether to issue arrest warrants. So we don't know when or if Netanyahu will be arrested. Now, in previous cases, judges have taken a month to decide. In other cases, they have taken several months to decide. If the judges agree there are reasonable grounds to believe war crimes have been committed, they will issue an arrest warrant. Which now brings me to the big question. Does the ICC have the jurisdiction over Israeli nationals? The answer to that is a little bit complicated. You see, Israel is not a member of the ICC. The ICC can prosecute nationals of a state that is party to the Rome Statute. Even though Israel is not a party to the treaty, Palestine is a member state. That basically means ICC can prosecute Israeli officials for crimes by Israel Defense Forces soldiers allegedly committed on Palestinian territory. But here's what the legal experts are saying. Even if the arrest warrants are issued, Netanyahu and Gallant do not face any immediate risk of prosecution. However, once an arrest warrant has been issued, they risk arrest if they travel to any country that is a signatory to the ICC. Hence, the threat of arrest could make it difficult for the Israeli leaders to travel abroad. Still, the ICC prosecutor's move against the Israeli Prime Minister and the defense chief is significant. It is the first time that the International Criminal Court has targeted top leader of a country that is also a close ally of the United States. It puts Netanyahu in the company of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, The ICC, remember, issued an arrest warrant against Putin over Russia's war in Ukraine. The US, which has rejected the ICC prosecutor's move against Israel, last year justified ICC's arrest warrant against the Russian President Putin. Like Israel, the US is also not a member of the ICC, but that did not stop it from sharing details of alleged Russian war crimes in Ukraine with the ICC. And what's more, Washington is not even trying to hide its hypocrisy anymore. While the Biden administration has made it clear that it rejects any ICC decision, some American legislators have issued warnings to the ICC: target Israel and we will target you, quote unquote. A dozen Republican senators have threatened to sanction ICC employees and associates, end all American support for the ICC, and bar its employees and their families from ever entering America. This is the message coming out of the US, that America may not recognize ICC's jurisdiction, but selective outrage is a terrible look for a power that calls itself the leader of the free world. Why does America support ICC against Putin but not against Netanyahu? Why does it scorn a court it helped create in the 1990s? Why does it undermine the international regime of law and order, the same values it claims to defend? As the ICC prosecutor Karim Khan has emphasized already, I'm quoting, "If we do not demonstrate our willingness to apply law equally, if it is seen as being applied everywhere selectively, we will be creating the conditions for its collapse." It seems that the US only supports the International Criminal Court when it aligns with its narrative. However, regardless of what anyone says, the ICC prosecutor has tried to hold both warring parties accountable. After all, these mechanisms are in place to hold the powerful to account. And what is power without accountability? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.